Where, 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 when
And welcome to Anishinabe Sober Voices. I'm Mark Lundeen, the engineer, and somehow I got to be hosting this thing. I don't know how Mary Ellen talks me into these things, but we're all here live in studio. And how you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
And loud.
Are you? Yeah, I just turned you down a little bit. So, how's the video project coming along?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We're almost done.
Yeah.
Maybe
So,
one more trip and that'll be it.
okay. Very cool. Yeah. And Mr. Steve, what's happening in your world?
Same old, same old.
Oh, it's spinning.
Pretty much.
It's spinning around and you're getting dizzy.
I am? Why am I doing that?
I don't know. You should get off that hamster wheel of yours and do something different, maybe.
I know. Yeah.
Well, we have a guest, and maybe, Steve, you could introduce us to our guest.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to introduce our guest, Mark and Mary Ellen. My nephew's from Lac du Flambeau. He knows a lot of people over there and has been doing a lot of work in that community. And I mean, a lot of work. He's been doing a lot of sober work and stuff, but I'm just really proud of him. He's raising his own children. He's raising the children of his spouse and helping her raise them. And then he's also raising some other family members' children too. And he's just doing a real good job. And he walks that red road. And I'm really, really, really proud of him. And I know he knows Tinker and a lot of the other people over there. His family's been over there involved in things for a long time. But anyways, I thought it would be good to have him on here. He's been participating in our groups, and he does a lot of things behind the scenes, and he does a lot of things with getting people to participate in projects and things, not only over there but around. And we're going to be partnering on some things sometime in the future between, I think, Bad River, Lac du Flambeau, LCO. So anyways, Victor's my nephew, and very proud to introduce you to him.
Well, good. Hey, Victor, welcome to the program. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Feel honored.
Turn up your volume here. There we go.
I said I'm doing good. Feel honored to be here.
Very cool. Well, you have this relationship with this very interesting person here in the studio. What's he been? What kind of influence has he been in your life ever since you were a young man and up to today?
My uncle Steve is my wife's uncle.
Okay.
So I met Uncle Steve when I met my wife, and when I met him, we just, like when people are genuine people, and you get a good vibe from them because they give off good vibes, like we immediately start joking around, teasing each other a little bit, and just clicked ever since. And he's really been a good supporter for my recovery.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to where you're at today. Give us a little history of your past and maybe the not so nice stuff of your life prior to your where you're at now. Sorry.
All right. So I native, and in native country, it's a lot of us definitely live hard lives, and it was no it was no exception for me. I'm from Lac du Flambeau. Um, One of my very first memories was being at a house party, and I don't know how old I was, but I was watching this man get beaten, and there was blood everywhere. And that was like one of my very first memories. And he was screaming a really, really just awful scream.
Mm.
And I was probably about, my auntie told me I was like almost 4 years old, and I was carrying my little brother down the road to go over by my auntie's house, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and we made it over there, and I remember my auntie crying, and then that was like one of my very first memories, because I grew up in an alcoholic home, and my father was a drug addict, and my father, he used to run around on my mom a lot, and my mom drank, and she was a pretty powerful woman. I seen her put a few grown dudes to sleep, and my dad he was just crazy, and he was mainly a cocaine addict, and he drank too. He drank like crazy. So that was my very first, like instincts towards, my mother, my father, of what I thought was normal in this life, was violence, chaos, just sadness, because I'd watch my mom cry and watch my father just, people call it snaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I grew older, and my mom and my father split, and my mom kidnapped me. She didn't want to give me back to my dad, and my dad won in court. So we went on the run, and I remember going through this river, and I was holding on to my mom's neck, and my brother was holding on to my neck, and I was holding on to my littlest brother, and we were like floating across this river, hiding from the police. And we made it through the forest, and I got to my grandma's house, and then that's when my mom said goodbye to me, and I lived with my dad for a while. And my dad, when I got there, my dad, he was going into his second marriage, and the wife didn't like me and my brother that much, and my little brother, the littlest brother, ended up staying with my mom because he had a different father. So our connection between our littlest brother, we got separated at a very young age, and it was a very broken family, very broken family. And I went to my father's, and my father, he was very mean, very abusive, still addicted to drugs. I don't know how he won in court, but he did. And I'd get sold into some where they sell kids for drugs and stuff like that. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I'm sure people will get the gist of I was traded for drugs. And so when I was growing up, I didn't trust any men or women, and I started getting older and realized that once I get older, I could fight back more, and I started physically getting stronger. I could feel it in my body, and I started fighting back. And my first fight, this is, I think, when I became first addicted to something, was I hit somebody in the face because they just kept bullying me over and over because I was poor. By this time I was in Milwaukee, and my father lost custody of me. And I was in Milwaukee with my mom, and I just got there. I was poor, res Indian, and nobody got along with me, and nobody liked me because I didn't have cool clothes, and I had the forest resi accent, and I was trying to fit in, and I couldn't. And I got in my first fight, and I realized after that fight that I didn't have to be the one that got hurt anymore. And that felt good. That felt so good to me that I didn't have to be hurt anymore. And I instantly became hooked. Is that okay? Now that I know I have the power to hurt other people instead of being hurt, that's the decision that I'm going with. And I realized also that came with benefits that I thought at the time. And I could take things that I wanted and influence other people. So I started like my violent streak. I was about 12, got my first pistol, start robbing people. I'd always rob. The ice cream man was the easiest guy to get. He had the stroller, it was like a little stroller first filled with ice cream. And I knew I was going to at least get $200. And $200 was half of my rent. And I was in Milwaukee, and my mom, she was addicted to crack then. And we had no food in the house. And I basically had to raise my brothers from robbing and selling drugs from 12 until like 14. And so I'd rob people, sell drugs. My mom went to prison. And I stayed in Milwaukee with my brothers. And I stayed there for almost a year, sending them to school, acting like nothing ever happened, paying rent. And I'd stay home from school, raise them, try to be the best influence I could be in what I knew. And it was a very, very very big time in my life where it was just pure survival. There are some days where we went hungry, and a lot of people really don't know how that feeling is to be hungry. That changes people, if you're starving and you got people depending on you, it's a very traumatic experience where I got at such a young age, 2 little brothers that are depending on me to make sure that I get food, make sure I have a home, get them up in the morning. And then my mom, finally, ICW came and got us because they finally found out that my mom was in prison, and I came up here, and I didn't last too long up here in Lac du Flambeau. I immediately got put in the system, and I got put in the system, and it was like kind of a blessing in disguise because I knew that I was going to be able to eat, and I knew I was going to have a warm bed, but at the same time, I was also meeting other people that were hurt, and I made connections, and I learned from other people how to be a better criminal and how to make the most money I could. And I looked up to a lot of people that I wasn't supposed to really look up to at that time, but I didn't know any better. It was like a normal for me. That was normal life. This is what I thought life was. So I got there, and I stayed there almost all the way until I was 18. And I finally got out when I was just about to turn 18. And my mom was getting out of prison. And I got out. I was probably 2 months away from 18 and got home. And probably about a week later, I was right in jail. Drinking, doing drugs. It was the best way to escape because I never wanted to be reminded of the past, especially when I was, like molested and stuff like that. It was always nightmares, and I wanted to forget all of that, and it was the easiest way, most instant way to forget any kind of pain. I got there and I stayed there almost the easiest way.
Yeah.
The easiest, most instant way to forget any kind of pain. I got there and I stayed there.
Steve, your speaker's out.
Yeah. The easiest, most instant way to forget any kind of pain.
Sorry about that. So then what happened? You turned 18. You're in the system again. What happened after that?
I became an adult. And once I became adult, then I really knew that I was like, it felt like I was always on this leash, you know. And when I became an adult, I was basically a big 12-year-old.
Mm.
You know what I mean? No discipline. I still had morality. You know, I
Yeah.
still had morality in this point of my life. You know, I
Wow.
loved and I cared about people. I
Yeah.
wanted to be good. You know, I wanted to be a good dad and stuff like that because that was coming very soon. You know, um, I turned 19 and met my son's um, mother, and I was selling drugs, still doing the same thing, in and out of jail, became a father. And that was the first time where it kind of like hit me where it's like, man, you want to know what? I should probably try to switch my life around so I don't end up becoming like my own dad and pass along this uh Rhea's curse, I was calling it.
Yeah.
And but I didn't. And I end up going away. I end up getting caught. I had to go and do 2 years, and I got out again. And um, my son's mother left me. I was really alone, and then my mother and my father died. And this was the time when drugs and alcohol, like before, it was a little bit fun. Still, you know, it was fun. Like I had fun. I went out, partied, hanged out. I was young, you know. But when my mother and my father both died, when I got out, I spent the last 2 years of my mom's life locked up. I had to watch her go through chemo through the visitors booth, and I watched her shrink up and get
Yeah.
weaker until she couldn't come and see me anymore. And I got in a fight, a real bad fight, and I had to spend the last year of it in solitary confinement, and I could only get out to visit her for like 10 minutes. And I only visited her like 3 more times by then, and she was too weak to come see me. So I got out and I was really institutionalized. You know, I did not know how to act, and it felt like I was getting off the leash again, like a wild animal, like the Tasmanian devil, you
Yeah.
know. And she passed away, and then it became real pain again that I couldn't escape anymore, even when I was high. And I kept trying to do it, and I started overdosing. Um, and I couldn't escape anything anymore. And it becomes a thing where you start, people will say it's chasing the high. I was chasing the escape for myself. Like I didn't care what I got high or what I got drunk on. I just wanted to escape everything. And it was like that. It was like that for a while, and I started becoming very toxic, stealing from family. I wasn't hustling anymore. I was just basically stealing and doing whatever I could to get money to get high. You know, a lot of people lie and say that, um, oh, you know, I was this big time this or big time that. But at the end, you don't have nothing. You don't have anything. You don't have money. Otherwise, you'd still keep getting high. You're broke. You burned all your bridges down. And
Mm.
everybody that you cared about don't even want to be by you anymore because all you do is hurt people.
Yeah.
So it lasted a while, about 7 years, until I was about 29. And then in 2015 was when like everything changed. I tried to commit suicide. I was really homicidal and suicidal by then, like dark. Everything was super dark. I just wanted to die. And I remember the best way to go out would probably be suicide by cops, you know, because I'm a big, scary native dude. If I pointed a pistol at some uh, little, tiny, scary cops that don't like Indians anyways, they're gonna shoot me. They'll kill me real fast. I knew that, you know. So I was like, because I was chicken to do it myself, you know. So I was like, I'll have these guys do it for me. It made it was like the most logical plan in my head. And I chickened out of that one too. So I decided to go out and do it myself. And I went out there and I tried to shoot myself in the face, and I was breathing really funny, like like hyperventilating a little bit, and I could feel my heart pounding out to here, you know, like beating out of your chest. It was like I was having a panic attack a little bit, and I was trying to talk myself into it. I was like, come on now, come on. And I had this weird feeling come over me, and it's like somebody grabbed the pistol and was like slowly moving it away from my face. And I kind of looked down into the barrel of the gun like that, and I snapped out of it just for a split second, like, holy crap, I'm about to kill myself, you know? And I threw it in the lake as far as I could because I didn't want it anymore. And I went and I called the cops on myself. And I told them, if you guys don't come and get me, I need help. I'm going to end up killing myself or killing somebody. And I don't know what is going to be first. So you better get here. And that was in 2015, June 11th, 2015. And it was the worst, best day of my life. And it was the beginning. I went to jail. I was withdrawing from meth, and couldn't sleep well. Didn't have nobody to call. Everybody I knew was either dead or in prison. And I went to the jail administrator, came and got me. And he was like, we got you a bed. Or no, he didn't say that at first. He said, we're letting you out. And I told him, don't. And I said, don't let me out, man. I was like, you guys don't know what you're doing. You know, I have to stay here. I'm supposed to stay here. And he was like, no, Victor, we got you a bed. We're going to get you some help. And I was like, really? You know, it shocked me a little bit because it was the first time, you know, that these guys were really willing to try to help me. Before, I always seen them as enemies, but they were trying to really help me. And it shocked me a little bit that these jailers would be trying to go out of their way to actually help me. And I got into recovery, and I had to stay there for a long time. I stayed there. I stayed in that treatment center for about 5 months, and then I spent another almost 5 months in a TLP house, and I knew I had to stay there. I got off paper my first week when I was there, and I knew I could run. I knew it. I'd have no consequences. But in the back of my mind, I started thinking differently, like the consequence will be that my life will continue to be the same.
Yeah.
So by the time I got out of this TLP house, this treatment center was getting built the whole time I was in there. And I was looking at it, and I'd go out and drive out and look at it, and I was like, man, one day I'm going to work there. You know, I started getting stronger, a little bit of faith in myself. And I remember the very first time when I was still in treatment, it was a feeling that I'd never felt before, and it was scary. It was the scariest feeling. Some Potawatomi lady came and smudged me down, and it was like, man, bro, she remembered me from a long time ago when we were kids, and we were in an institution together. She's like, man, bro, don't you remember me? And I was like, no, I don't. She's like, you look like a monster. I was like, yeah, you know, because I looked crazy, you know. She's like, you need some sage, brother. So she smudged me down, and I was thinking, and I breathed a little bit of it in, and it like made this little spark right here inside of my heart, you know. And I said it. I even said it out loud. I was like, I'm going to make it this time. And it was the very first time in my life I've ever felt hope, ever. Wow. And I was almost 30 years old.
Yeah. Wow.
So I got out, and I started doing really well. And I got a job at that treatment center. And I realized that I was like, man, I was tripping myself out that everything that I say that I'm going to do is happening. And I started reading about it, and it was the power of manifestation. And I was like, so I started saying really crazy things, you know, that didn't make sense at the time. But I was like, things that I want to do. I'm gonna become a powwow dancer. I didn't even know how to powwow dance. I didn't even know any songs. I didn't even own a pair of moccasins. I got a pair of moccasins now,
Yeah.
and I dance my butt off now. You know, I said all kinds of crazy things, and they're all coming true. I was like, I'm gonna be a really good father. I'm gonna be such a good father that I want to make sure that when one day when I'm on my deathbed, that I could look at all my sons and daughters and tell them, look, I gave it everything I got, and now it's your turn. And I'm gonna go up by Gitchimanidu and tell them the same thing. I gave it everything I got. You know, and while I'm on this red road, I realized that there was other people that are like me, and that made me happy. Like, I'm not alone. That's why I really click with my Uncle Steve. You know, I got a lot of family members and a lot of blood family that I just don't click with. You know, and Uncle Steve is my wife's uncle.
Mm.
Well, he's closer than any uncle that I've had right now. You know, that's my uncle too. You know, and I love that guy. He got my back. You know, and that's real. That's genuine healing of a nation. Is one.
Mhm.
That's how Get You Money Do works. Is you pass it along. You pass that blessing along, and that's exactly what I'm doing now. Is whoever comes to me, I'm like, hey, let's go over to this meeting. Hey, I don't know any Indian songs. I don't know how to dance, but I really feel like dancing, but I'm scared. Well, get out there because there's only one way you're gonna know. Because culture saved my life, little brother, big brother. You know. So it's that's and then I started school, and then this is another part of manifestation. Is I started school and I said something crazy again. And I was like, one day I'm gonna be a doctor. They're gonna call me Dr. Reyes, and I'm about to graduate in for my associates, and I'm gonna have be a substance abuse counselor. So I'm super happy about that because it's just another step in my path. You know, because I feel like I call it sometimes not the red road, but it's the path of redemption. Because I put so much hurt out into the universe that it's time for me to heal and kind of give back in order to balance that out. So I could go to Get You Money Do and be like, hey, I did my best to balance it out, and I'm sorry that I got that lesson wrong. You know, I'm sorry that I didn't learn right away, but that's part of my lessons, and probably had to happen. It had to be like that. I'll never change anything about my past, even the disgusting stuff that happened, because it gave me fire. It gave me the spark in order to spark other people, in order to keep the fire going. And now it's not a spark anymore. Now I feel like everything around me is just burning energy. I'm strong now.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah. So let's ask Uncle Steve, where did you come into Victor's life in his life journey? How long ago?
Oh, it was a few years ago. I of course, had a connection with his wife, but then they asked me, I think it was last summer, yeah, it was last summer, if I would do a marriage ceremony.
Mm.
And so I did that, and so we saw each other a lot more. But just like Victor said, I as soon as I met him, it's just something there that clicked.
Mm.
You know, and I was watching him and watching what he was doing, and you know, he treats all those kids like they're all his biological kids. You know,
Yeah.
and he wants them to learn about tradition. He wants them to dance. He wants them to go to ceremonies, go to Big Drum, and go to other ceremonies, and I just kept watching him, and my niece, you know, she follows that same road, and so long story short is I did the ceremony, and it's been going on a year now,
Mm.
and I just been watching him, and just he when he talks with people, we talk about this all the time, but when he talks with people, we always say that, we can speak from a point of experience, what we went through. And I see the way that he relates to new people that are coming into the program. And uh, I see him taking time out of his very, very busy schedule of going to school and raising a family, trying to be a good person, helping out other people, give them a ride somewhere or meet them somewhere, meet me here at Big Drum, or meet me here at a powwow, or meet me here, whatever. Or what do you need? You need this or you need that, and um, that means a lot to me, because I've always had that same feeling about giving back. I've had so many blessings in my life, and I used to not be a good person at all, and I would pray to the Creator, and I would tell him, like, just let me today be a little bit better than I was yesterday,
Mm.
And it's taken a long time. I've been around a lot longer than most people have, but I just saw that in him. I saw that he cares about his community. And what happens to people like Victor and I'm not whining, but sometimes we become targets. Okay. There's lateral oppression out there. There's what I call crab in the pot mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a lot of crabs out there.
Yeah.
And so what'll happen, and I've watched him be brave when he's been challenged by some people out there that are doing nothing. They're doing nothing, and they're trying to tear down what he's doing, And he's been brave, and he doesn't go out and tell him he's going to beat him up. He just uses some discretion. And that usually comes with a person with a lot more many years on this Mother Earth.
Maturity.
Yeah. But I watch it with him, and I watch how those kids love him and they adore him. I mean, when I see that, it is just like, wow. I can't hardly describe it, But if you ever saw any photographs with him and the kids, you can just feel. A picture's worth 1,000 words. You can just feel that connection that he has with those kids.
Sure. Yeah.
And
So, Victor, tell me, real quick, how many kids are you caring for in your place?
Altogether, 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're still going to school at the same time?
Yeah. I'm lucky, though, because I got a very amazing wife. She's Anishinabe, and she's Bear Clan, tough lady, keeps me in line.
Wait a minute. She's tougher than you?
Oh, man, she's tougher than me.
she
It's
is.
the law of attraction, bro. I'm telling you, it's the law of attraction. She had to have been tougher than me. And she's so amazing. Right now, she told me, stay at home, stay with the kids.
Oh, okay.
Do your school, enjoy your time being a father, because I didn't get to do that with my boy because I was incarcerated. So I didn't get to have those moments, you know what I mean, in my fatherhood where they were young, and it feels like that when I got married to a Native woman, my mom always said too, you better marry a Native woman. And I was like, as soon as I did that, and I was like, oh man, now I know why she told me, because it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I know that I'm gonna hit like a different level of in recovery and love and fatherhood with that amazing Quay having my back and being there and being my rock. That's what, I don't want to sound like, but that's what they're there for. They're the backbone of the family, the glue. They hold everything together. Women, you know, and then she's just. I wouldn't want to have shared this life with anyone else, and it's blessings for staying on the red road. It's blessings to have, and more will be to come. Is for doing good. If you put good out in the world, you're gonna get good back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. So what are you currently, so along with being a stay-at-home dad and you're going to school, are you still working in the recovery industry? Are you still doing some mentoring or counseling?
Yeah. I do mentoring. I do some stuff with Uncle Steve with Sober Voices, where I'm like the wrangler, where I go and bug people, make sure they get to the meeting. You know what I mean? Okay, what are you doing today? Send about 400 messages sometimes. Hey, what are you doing today? 6:00. Better get your butt to a meeting. And I also do work at the Vilas County Jail, and I teach culture there. And the guys there, they want me, and my wife does the women, because I believe that men should teach men, women should teach women. So my wife does the women there. They love it. The guys love it, and they want us. We usually go there 2 times a month, but I just got off the phone with the jail administrator today to try to get in there every weekend for prayers and teaching them stuff about Big Drum and programs and people. Tell them stories about people that are on the red road, how fun it is. And people think that it's lame. Man, this is fun because you actually get to live. You don't have to be in jail. You don't have to wake up hurt. You don't have to worry about your significant other running around on you while you're locked up and then you're crying in the fetal position on your bunk. There's nothing you can do. Nobody will bail you out.
Yeah. It's kind of surreal to side and talk with the other men.
Yeah, it really is. Because I remember being in the same room, and I remember sitting at the table and playing cards with some of the people that come in there. So they know when I'm talking to them. They give me a lot of respect, So they know when I'm talking to them that, like, this dude sat down and played cards with me not too long ago. 8 years ago, 9 years ago, he was sitting right in here with us. And that's what I tell him, too.
Mm-hmm.
I was right there in that shirt, and I know the way out. And you guys know it's the truth because you guys see me there, and now you see me here. So if you don't want to listen, that's up to you. But you know I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
Get out.
And what party friends did you have from your past that are watching you now? And people are watching. They always watch us just to make sure we're sincere about where we're going and what we're doing. And they're always watching just for that little flub up, and they're going to say, "Ooh, I caught you!" And, it's like,
oh yeah, there's a lot of people out there that, the sad thing about, Native America is that it's been very negative because our nation's been beat up for so long that, just like me in the beginning, that spark of hope, a lot of us don't even know it.
Yeah.
We don't know how to feel and how to grow and how to get stronger. And it's just this huge storm cloud that's above each and every one of our reservation homes. That this huge storm cloud, and we have to just keep working at it. It's going to take time. It's going to be patience. We're going to lose more people to overdoses, and we're going to have a lot more recovery champions get born into this red road and fight alongside of Uncle Steve and everybody else, alongside of me, alongside of my wife. My wife has her own little wolf pack now. They do good. It's a beautiful thing. The healing of our nation's spirit is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Mary Ellen, this is your first time meeting him. What questions do you have, or maybe a thought of encouragement?
Niyagisha kuko Anishinabe, Pichu. I'm so enthused and so inspired by your talk, by your talking is so powerful. And I really have a lot of hope. I have a lot of hope for the people with you there. Those 8 that you're taking care of are going to be great.
Mm, yeah.
Role models, brothers, and you're great role model. You're truthful, you're honest, and you're not afraid to give it all you have, and you're not afraid to tell your story the way it is. And I just, I'm going to be putting tobacco down, and putting it in my pipe, and thinking about you for a long time. And, we don't have to suffer very much nowadays, not long anymore. I suffered for 40 years, and before I turned my will over to the Great Spirit. And it's so important. It's so important to have you out there. It's so important to have you to hear me and to know that you're there for people too. I used to be afraid of jail. I used to be afraid that my daughter would be in jail all the time.
Mm,
She learned a lot while she was in jail. So there's good people there too. You know? And we're helping, and we're helping a lot of people see the things, see the way out. And just hang in there, one day at a time.
hmm Uncle Steve, what about your thoughts?
One of the things that I've noted since working with Victor on some of the programs and stuff, especially our talking circles and stuff, is that he's inspiring. People listen to him. People love to have him on our Zoom meetings because he always has something good to say. And like what Mary Ellen said, the honesty, and just sometimes it takes somebody to inspire somebody else. It takes them just to say, yeah, well, he did it, maybe I can do it too,
Right.
And I think that's the thing that I see most in the work that that he does and his wife does, is that they inspire people, and that means a lot. And I just know it's been an honor working with him, and I could love continuing to work with him on things. And we've got some ideas on some more things we can do to help the community, and it's wonderful to have somebody out there like him, to help.
Yeah.
And so I mean, he's truly an inspiration, and he's humble. I mean, that's one of the things that's important too. He encourages people and sets an example, and that along with humility and, like I said, the inspiration he gives to people. And it's good to have people from different age groups that are out there, advocating for sobriety. It's good to have, young people and middle-aged people and older people all together. And I just know that he has been a good cow herder. He's good at herding people to
Yeah.
meetings. And
Yeah.
what's been great about it is they come back. I mean, that's what's been. And also, we've been working on having. I think we've talked about this here before, but having more and more people host
Mm-hmm.
the meetings, and
Yeah.
so they can, they can learn how to do that. It's not brain surgery, and I just think that's important to keep having more people that have the skills to run those meetings, and not only that, but the willingness to give up their time to run the meetings.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, uh, like I said about Victor previously, is he's always willing to give time. And I always try to tell people, well, our time is our most precious commodity because you can't get it back.
Yeah.
And so when you're willing to give your time to something, it's very important. And keep it on. I truly believe what he said too, that we want to go there with an open arm and open heart when we go to Creator, and be able to say as much as we can that, well, Creator, I did the best I can do.
Yeah.
I'm not a perfect person, and I make mistakes. I'm a human being. As John Trudell would say, I'm just a human being trying to make it in this messed up world,
Yeah.
And I always remember that, and I remember that from some of my teachers at ceremonies and stuff too. They always try to get that across about being, wanting to make sure that you do the best you can, and that don't put yourself out there as some kind of a god or whatever. To put yourself out there as a a regular old human being,
Mm-hmm.
that makes mistakes. Because when I see people out there trying to think that they have control over something, then to me that means like they're trying to put themselves in the place of the Creator, and there's only one Creator, and so don't judge me unless you're the Creator. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Pardon?
I've been waiting for you to stop.
He keeps talking. All right, let Mary Ellen.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Mary Ellen wants to talk now. She's pinch him in the leg or
You
something.
need to kick me.
Yeah. I've been waiting for him to catch breath.
All right.
I was thinking about his wife,
Yeah.
There's so many women out there now that are being treated badly,
Mm.
scapegoats, and the one that's they're not holding anything together, But his wife, I mean, that whole family there must be really in high heaven,
Mm.
with him leading and with her by his side, and receiving all that good love and good respect and good honor from him. That's really great.
Yeah.
There's not very many of us women that are recovering that get to be in that position.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
that, it's really neat.
We should have her in this interview.
Mhm.
Victor, can you squeeze her into your setup there?
We can have her.
Have her next.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
She has a good message too. She walks the red road with me hand in hand, and she's a powerful quay on her own. And I truly admire her and love her.
Well, Victor, with all these great things that are happening in your life and the family and the kids, you still live life, right? I mean, you still have life things that you have to overcome, right?
Oh yes.
How do you deal with that then without thinking about, oh man, this is it's the car broke down again, we're down to a half a car, or the kids are all sick because they all get sick at the same time, and life is life, and how do you deal with that?
So when I very first started dealing with like the stay at home dad thing, I was never used to that ever in my life.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I got a little 1 year old, Indian baby looking at me wanting food all the time, and napkins all the time, and yelling at me, and we're looking at each other like this, like, and we finally got to an understanding, and we finally have made peace and stopped warring with each other. So there's definitely obstacles on the red road. There's obstacles, but I call them blessings because they're opportunities to get stronger as a man, as a human being. You know, is testing my patience and testing what my character really is. Who do you really want to be? How do you really want to be remembered in this world? Truly, for what people truly know you as, not just the image that you put.
Right.
What's going on? How is she going to see her father? How is my son's going to see their father? You know what I mean? It's huge on breaking the next, breaking the generational trauma.
Yeah.
It's just gigantic because for my daughters, influencing what type of men they're going to be looking at in the future. And for my sons, I'm influencing what type of man that they should be and how they should treat their women.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of pressure on my shoulders because there's some days where I'm just like feeling super toxic. So then I go downstairs and I'm yelling around, I'm cussing the beat heck
Yeah.
into a pillow or stomping my feet and fuming and frustrated and mad. But I'm never ever going to give that up. I'm never ever going to give this up to be high, because when I hear somebody call me daddy, or when they say I love you, or when I get hugs from them, when I get hugs from people in the community saying, hey man, thanks for talking to me last night. You know what I mean? I know my position in the world is 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 needed, and I need it. I need to make sure that I stay here because I love the life that I'm building and the future that I'm going to make for myself, and the realness that I get to see with people, the real love. Because when you're in that past life and the using life, you don't get to experience like real genuine love from any of your surroundings. Everything is fake because people want to get what they want for themselves with the selfishness. But on this path, it's selflessness. You give, you're a servant, you help,
Yeah.
and in turn, you get blessed by the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just grateful for my blessings.
Yeah. What would you say? We're getting a little closer to the end of our program, and I want you to talk to someone who might be watching this on Facebook or YouTube or listening to this on the radio, and they're struggling in their life and they're struggling with addiction. What would be your advice to them?
It'd sound pretty like normal to say, never give up. You know what I mean? But I say that with all like the fierceness that you ever have. When there's days that you just feel like giving up, calling it in, committing suicide, ODing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really hanging up the gloves truly in your darkest moment. When you are in your darkest moment, allow yourself just one more day and keep fighting. Allow yourself to be influenced by Gitchimani to feel that love, to come to join the Red Road. Just allow it once. Give yourself 1 year. Because if you stay on that path, you're gonna end up doing a year in prison or some kind of institution anyways. But if you give the Red Road 1 year, by the end of that year, you're never gonna want to use again. If you truly follow, Gitchimanidu's plan and that Red Road and listen and be open hearted with the people that are on the Red Road. Allow them to help guide you along your journey, because the trickster is too powerful to fight alone. You will fall repeatedly over and over. Because if there was a way to get high and live a normal life, I would have found it, because I'm nuts. And I would have found it and I would have seeked it out to the very last moment. And I'm telling you, there isn't. So
Yeah.
go that way. That's how I do. Go that way, man.
Mm-hmm. Steve, any final thoughts from you as we wrap up?
No, I'm just glad we were able to have Victor on tonight. Glad Mary Ellen was here.
I'm glad I was here.
I'm glad you were here.
Me too.
I don't know what we'd do. We'd be pushing all the wrong buttons. I can tell you that.
It's very nice to meet you, Mary.
Oh, thank you.
Hopefully one day I get to meet you in person.
Cool.
We will. We'll meet.
Yeah, we will.
Mary Ellen, any final thoughts for you? Because Steve's taking a breath now, so you can talk.
Well, I'm not.
That was tough, you know. I hated to kick him, but
I know.
but
Glad I
yeah,
got my big boots on.
every day is good, and every day is going to be good. And very good friend of mine is supposed to be listening tonight or watching tonight. Really, really great guy. And everyone else, hello.
Yeah,
Everyone else is great too.
we've had a few good comments online and stuff. So it's at this point too that we share that if people need someone to call and talk to, we put up a couple of numbers here on the screen, and I'll just say them out loud for our radio audience. If you would like to give Mary Ellen Baker a call and talk with her, her number is 715-634-5806. Now, give her a little time to get home before you call the number. Otherwise, Eunice is going to be answering the phone.
She'll get you.
Yeah.
My dream.
But,
my dream.
Again, that number for Mary Ellen is 715-634-5806. And for Steve, if you want to talk to him, his number is 231-357-6191. And you can always look for contact information on the Facebook page of Anishinabe Sober Voices. And what was the other site that you
Anishinabe Nuji, N-O-O-J-I.
Yeah.
And Nuji, N-O-O-J-I, chat.
Okay. Different places. And of course, on the Anishinabe Sober Voices Facebook page, I know, Steve, you put out that information out there. So, yeah. Wow. Hey, Victor, any final thoughts from you?
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I appreciate every chance I get to spread along the word of and the blessings that can happen into your life if you trust Gitchimani.
Yeah.
Miigwech.
Yeah.
Miigwech to you.
Love you, nephew.
Love you, Uncle. Appreciate you.
Awesome.
Say big miigwech to your wife.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. Thank your wife. This is awesome. Well, you've been listening to Anishinaabe Sober Voices here on WOJB. We thank you for joining us, and we will be coming back in 2 weeks. Do we have a guest yet for 2 weeks from now? Who's that?
I don't know.
You know?
But we'll have one.
We'll have one.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, thank you all for listening and watching Anishinaabe Sober Voices here on WOJB.
Oh.
Hi. We're clear.
Way,